Okay, so I lost my train of thought. So why don't we just pick up with a new, some new questions? Okay. All right. Ricardo wants to know what the utility of the new token will be. Well, quite honestly, uh, likely the utility of the token is going to be very similar to Aave, um, Synthetics, and MakerDAO. Since we're pulling exclusively from these projects for our token refresh. If you look at those projects as examples, you're likely going to see um, you'll see some similarities there. Okay, how long will the public beta run? Honestly, the public beta will run until the next version of the protocol is live. So uh, I won't even pretend to try and take a guess there. When it's the way I operate as an engineer is I don't try and put arbitrary deadlines on engineers who are building things that likely are going to have over $1 billion parked behind them. I instead tell my community, look, if you're building something that's going to have $1 billion parked behind it, let's do it right. And picking arbitrary dates doesn't really help us. So it'll be ready as soon as it's ready, and I can't really comment beyond that. I mean, I can take guesses, but the only thing that comes from those guesses is pure disappointment because I can guarantee that I'll be wrong. How many financial advisors are there for Hi-Fi? Do you have any plans to increase it? The introduction was not well on the website. Okay, so how many financial advisors on Hi-Fi? Well, we have a team of advisors that we can get access to. For example, like I'll get on the phone maybe once a quarter with Michael Arrington and his crew, as well as some of um, the other backers and larger players who are backing Hi-Fi. We've got access to our board of directors, and we also contract with a few, what you might call financial advisors. But do I have plans to increase it? Yeah, I mean, I will increase it if there is a need for it. Resource constraint is not really a thing right now for Hi-Fi, and so we can basically afford what help we need, but oftentimes adding more eyeballs and brains behind something doesn't move it faster or safer. Sometimes it just creates more of a bottleneck for trying to onboard the new guys. So likely we'll keep the team as it is for now and through the next couple iterations. And if we start becoming too overwhelmed, we'll continue the growth. Um, the introduction was not well on the website. I don't know if you could be a little bit more explicit there. I would love to understand what you mean. Potentially, as the descriptions around the team is not very verbose. Quite honestly, that's intentional. Every time we hire somebody, there are explicit attacks on them for sim swaps, and basically, like if you get hired at Hi-Fi, people think you're a crypto millionaire and they go after you. And so, yeah, we've been pretty explicit on not putting too much information out there publicly because we've been doing this for 3 years, and the crypto community is a two-edged sword. Some of you guys are here looking at what you can take advantage of, and others are here to build. And we want to really cater to the builders, and we hopefully what we have is sufficient for you to make some judgment calls, as well as what we've actually shipped now. Go take a look at the code. That's really how I hope people measure us. Hi, when Coinbase roadmap, please, please, please. Okay, so Coinbase. If I were engaged with Coinbase, I couldn't comment, and so likely let's do this. Any questions about Coinbase, I'll now ignore, and and because I'm not in talks with Coinbase originally took a look at us back in 2018, and so. In order to avoid any sort of weird situation if something is going to happen there, I'll just ignore those questions from here on out. We are trying to get on some U.S. based exchanges. There's a large U.S. following that we'd like to support. So, but that process is rather complicated and lawyer filled, and so we're working on some public. legal opinions getting published, and so hopefully we'll have some options there in the future. Why did liquidity rewards stop on Uniswap and Balancer? Well, quite frankly, because if you were doing those rewards, you don't need my subsidies. If you look at what you were earning over the past several weeks, it's been on average about 100% APY. And at times I saw 400 and 800% APY. So I don't know why you need my little subsidies on top of that, because you're earning bank if you're in Uniswap and Balancer. So good on everyone who participated there. It's my little gem, where I like to put a chunk of my personal MFT to work. And so, yeah, it's because it's just not needed. It's almost laughable that we would like subsidize, people who are making 100% APY. So, it's fulfilled its role. It's needed. If you really need some handouts, go over and run a humming bot. Run a humming bot on Binance and help support the liquidity there. Will there be a token burn? I don't know. I think that's the best answer. Token economics is just uninteresting to me. We're not trying to innovate there. So, what I keep saying is, is there a token burn in Synthetix, MakerDAO, or Aave? And that will give you the probability of any sort of token burn happening within our system. I love the lemon tea video you made a while back. That was a classic. Yes, I agree. I think it speaks more to me now today than it did at the time. And we leave it, front and center on our YouTube channel for that reason. I hope we're able to do and afford, these types of things in the future. Our focus is less on marketing and more on development. And so, quite honestly, you've seen us cut back our marketing efforts because, frankly, we just think, look, we'll just ship. And if, at the end of the day, if we don't ship, none of the marketing matters. We've been doing this for a long time. And so, the marketing can come and it can come late. Like, it just doesn't matter. If you're here and you're overexposed to MFT, you might want to rebalance your portfolio, or go just split it with ETH and MFT and Uniswap and make this 76 to 400% APY, and that way you're not too overexposed. The only people who really want to push me to do things within a certain time frame are people who are overexposed, trying to wring out every dime that they can for me. But look, I went through 2018 at Mainframe. I remember some conversations with Mick and about where crypto was headed and how we were managing the treasury. And we are using that experience to guide us today. And we are in such a stable position with our treasury that I just do not feel an urgency to meet any sort of arbitrary deadlines. I just want to build something great that people will use for time. And if I don't accomplish that, I'm going to pivot until we find it. And I think we're onto something good. Clearly, I think our feedback loop with token price is a good measure of people's anticipation of that. I hope I deliver on it. Okay. You said ETH gas fees are a concern. Is changing just not an option at all? Why not other blockchains that aren't experiencing these gas issues? Again, such as ADA, just an example. Cool. Let's take this head on. I love hard questions. So I hired a bunch of Ethereum engineers. We've made a big investment into Ethereum. I'm not married to any chain. Quite honestly, Bitcoin is what introduced me to blockchain. Ethereum is what got me excited about blockchain. But if I'm being honest, the only thing I care about are users and where the users are. So I will follow the users. I'm not a trailblazer, right? Like, I am here to build a product people use. If you don't want that, you probably don't want to, hold our token. If you're interested in that, well, this is going to be a very fun journey for us as we discover that together. they're I mean, the reason why we're not building on ADA is because there just aren't ADA engineers. When you take something like mainframe, look at this. Look at this job that I've had. You know, Mick approached me and say, "Hey, Doug, you were one of the people at mainframe that truly used blockchain. Like I took out a MakerDAO debt position against my Ethereum to mint DAI and go purchase my minivan, right? Like my license plate, I think it's just MKR DAO. Like that is my license plate on my minivan. So like I try and use this stuff in the real world, right? And I want to build something that people are actually going to use here. But I was given a company that really we had failed twice. There's no getting around it. The people who participated in our token presale gave us something on order of around $13 million in order to go and build uh, something that they didn't want. It's so bizarre to me. And I think this is just kind of like the 2017 ICO mania where it was just like, yeah, that sounds like a great idea. Let's do it. And then when we built it and delivered it, no one wanted it. No one cared. They were like, you know what? Slack is free and I don't have to pay for the messages. It's just like, okay, well, I mean, we'll listen. So then we tried to pivot into mainframe OS. You know, that failed as well. And the pivot into mainframe OS has started, you know, that started our, you know, really paying attention to like, okay, where's the utility? And it's DeFi. Like blockchain today is a speculator sport. If you're not giving people tools where they can leverage their own bags for additional value, I don't know what you're doing. Just look at some of the histories with AMM, right? Uniswap wasn't the first AMM, but Uniswap was the first AMM to pair against Ethereum. And what do a bunch of people who are on Ethereum have? Ethereum. So it made the most sense for, you know, instead of Bancor and pairing against them, it really took off. So you got to take, you know, your consumers, meet them where they're at, and you got to add value. And so far, you know, mainframe has made two valid attempts. You know, we really felt like, you know, someone paying us, you know, $13 million to build something might mean they want it. We were wrong. And I think it's okay to be wrong and to admit these mistakes because that totally informs where we're at today. And so we looked at really hard at where the real utility was, and it was DeFi. We started building within Mainframe OS DeFi applications, things that I wanted for like that I wish I had had when I had leveraged using MakerDAO in order to buy my minivan. So you know, I think I'll go where the users are. But you know, these things don't get built overnight, and you got to make an investment in a chain. And guess what? All of our engineers know Solidity. And so like I was given this company, we had failed twice, and now it's my job to come in and like we you know we've got to make something happen here. And so I needed to purchase confidence. And so I went looking around and I said, look, I don't expect anyone to trust me. Like, what have I done? I've been a part of a blockchain company that really, you know, has floundered a bit, has been great at marketing, really spoke to people, and then we really kind of lost our sense of direction. And so I went around and I said, you know what? I need confidence. And so that's where Savior entered the picture. And I reached out to Paul. We started messaging each other. And what I saw in Savior was this. We had a protocol that was already in DeFi that was streaming value in real time, doing something novel, and that I could acquire, but I wanted Sablier and I wanted Paul because I needed somebody who had built something that had been bug free, exploit free on mainnet for 18 months. You can't buy that. I mean, apparently you can, but it's very difficult to find. We looked at acquiring various other crypto projects as well, and we almost did. But quite honestly, you know, in purchasing this confidence, and you see it in how I built the team. Every single member of the team comes with a perspective from the traditional financial world, and or they came from DeFi and have delivered some sort of DeFi product. That's like the minimum bar to get a job at HiFi. It's like you had to have shipped something. I cannot purchase that on Cardano. I can barely purchase it on Binance Smart Chain, and all those guys have done is forked, you know, the work over here on Ethereum. And so are we getting top notch engineers if we go after that talent? I don't think so. But As soon as there is a one-click deploy for my Solidity code that we invested, that we've paid, on quite a bit of money to audit, uh, I'll deploy it. And if there's users there, I'll deploy it. I'll follow the users. That's my commitment. I am user oriented, and that's who I align with. I could care less about a lot of other things. Those are lower priorities to me. I want to build something that gets used. That's where my validation comes from. There's nothing more validating as an engineer is to build something that people want and use. So if it's on Ethereum, and likely there'll be some version on Ethereum always, great. If it's somewhere else, guess what? I want to get usage. I want there to be a value capture mechanism where we can drive value back to our token. This is the coolest job in the world. There's nothing I want more than to perpetuate this. Okay, hopefully you get it. I think you can tell I'm a little bit passionate about that, but I'm passionate about just not caring and caring about our users and getting usage. Are the token minting fees the same as a full gas transaction? I don't understand that vernacular, a full gas transaction. But look, it should be reasonable. Let's put it that way. I mean, it's going to be reasonable. Like if Ethereum's really expensive to use, it might be really expensive that day. But just wait. If you be patient, we're not going to give you like a week to be able to do this. Likely it'll be much, much, much longer. All right, can you talk about Sablier and how it will play into the HiFi ecosystem? All right, where'd it go? I just lost my spot because you guys kept commenting. Can you talk about Sablier and how it will play into the HiFi ecosystem? And will there be a Sablier token? Ooh, asking the good questions. All right, talk about Sablier. Sablier is special to me. Sablier is something I really want to take care of, and it's something that Paul, I think, when you acquire something like this, you kind of enter into this like joint ownership. I let Paul really still steer the ship around Sablier. At one point, we thought that there probably wouldn't be an appetite for a Sablier token. That narrative seems to be changing. But quite honestly, it just has to make sense. Nobody wants the liability of a token that doesn't do anything. And so right now, we've got plans for Sablier. I've got more plans. I've got plans for Sablier that I haven't even told Paul. I'm afraid it's going to make him nervous. And quite honestly, there's just so many cool things that we're going to be able to do with Sablier that I'm just not even willing to tell you, because you'll get so excited about it. And then the only thing I'm going to hear for the next like 2 years is like, oh, when's the Sablier thing going to happen? But just use your imagination a little bit. Like, teams are using this tool to vest their token. We've got, like, last I checked, $350 million in TVL. I love that, like, HiFi, previously Mainframe, like, it doesn't get the DeFi badge on any of these, like, curation sites that are supposed to like help you see where these different DeFi projects are and how they rank up against each other. I don't know what it is. I don't know what the gatekeeping process is. Like, I mean, of course, I'm not willing to pay any fees to get onto these lists, but we've got like $350 million in TVL. We're like the de facto standard for transparent vesting to investors or to community or team. So it's like we originally thought that product was going to be great for payroll, and we do it for payroll. But as Ethereum gas has gone up in cost, it makes less sense to do. People aren't claiming their paycheck every single day. Maybe they're claiming it once a week, but still, it's expensive to use Ethereum right now. But it makes a lot of sense in the vesting your community tokens or transparently managing it. We've got Sushi on there. We've got Meta, MTA, and MStable. Those guys, like, I think there's going to be some big advantages for using Sablier in the future. And I think that because I'm the guy in charge of helping to build that future. So, yeah, I mean, that's all I'll say. I can only muse on it. Right now, Paul is working on the next iteration of our lending protocol. There are lots of things we'd like to do with Sablier, and it's like our secret weapon. And people just don't even really recognize that this is kind of like this package deal you get with HiFi. And I think there's going to be some deep integration. Let's talk about. I saw a question about Genesis Block. Genesis Block is onboarding. Actually, I don't know that I can share much about Genesis Block. I recognize that maybe some of this was shared in confidence. I'll let them do their own marketing. They're progressing. I use them on my phone. I love it. And is there a partnership there? Well, guess what? We are owned by the same people, and those people have very aligned interests. So I would expect that there's going to be something, and I am uninterested in really musing on what that is going to be, because anytime you set out to build something, it always ends up different than what you actually build. And so, quite honestly, yeah, I think there is. I hope there is. I'm working to make sure that that's a reality. What it will be, that is yet to be determined, because they have yet to launch. We have yet to launch. We're still in our public beta. And so, yeah, I think there's going to be some, we're like, Hi-Fi is in this stage where we're just like backing up, and we're just stretching out the rubber band so that as soon as we're like really ready to pour on the rewards and go, that we can just go. Like this is, we can afford to be patient, so we are. You can be patient up to a point, but we could last through a next bear market. This is not a problem. So I think that I am purchasing confidence. Remember, that's why I bought Sablier. I needed somebody who had done it before. Now that we've had some price appreciation, we took a huge bet on ourselves. We've been able to carve out tons of stablecoin. And so I had the most confidence in us than I've ever had, and I had a lot of confidence in us because ultimately I went all in on Hi-Fi a year ago. Like Aave to swap will maybe be 101. Yeah, something like that. What do you know, and what can do with 3K of MFT coins? Oh, you can hodl them. Yeah, that's a pretty good idea in my mind. As long as it's not money you need for like essential life skills. Ada will have the one button launch for your project. Cool. Tag me in the tweet when it's there. Excellent, Doug. Thank you. Is the Hi-Fi team looking at a mobile app or making it mobile friendly? No. This is public beta. We built it for one browser, like literally. So this is the way software development works. And it sounds so lazy, but it's so beautiful. We tried to do the least amount possible, the least that we thought you would let us get away with. And so we support MetaMask on Chrome. Yeah, I'm feeling like an idiot because I set my dad up with Argent on his mobile phone, and he can't even use Hi-Fi. So then I had to take a week to onboard him to MetaMask, and it just like sending money out of Argent is just a nightmare. And so, yeah, I mean, we're doing the least amount possible right now because truly it's a massive bug bounty, and we just need it to sit. We just need some time. It doesn't really even matter if people show up and use it so much, because I've already put $250,000 out there, and that's just there. If you think you can get it, go get it. I would much rather have you take my money now than take it later, and I'll give you a pair of socks. So, do I have plans to meet Samsung in the near future? I have no idea where this is coming from, so not yet. It's the first I've heard of Samsung. Listen, man, we're all here concerned with the coin price. So whatever you want to do it fast before Bitcoin get corrected. Okay. Listen, man, 1370 Cam, this is a message for you. I don't care. I just don't care. Like, I mean, the way that I am wired, I could care less now about coin price, because I think my hypothesis is that it's going to take care of itself if we build something people want. So I'm going to take all my energy and I'm going to focus on building something people want, and that can have a value capture mechanism added to it. Beyond that, let's talk about coin price whenever that fails to get people's attention. Since taking over, we've seen 10 to 20x. I mean, maybe you're buying the top, but quite honestly, if I just expect that it's just not going to matter. Like these prices today are just going to be like you're going to. I don't know. I think there's certain things I can't say as a CEO, but just like yeah, this is not my focus. Anybody who's talking about price, this is what I said earlier. If you're trying to push me towards an arbitrary deadline, it's probably because you're overexposed, dude. Sell half, go put it into Uniswap. The ETH MFT. It's been yielding like yesterday I think it was 78% APY. The day before it was 100. The day before that it was 400. Like, dude, I there's just so many things you can do besides sit here and worry about price. Like, be productive, go get feedback on the product, help us build something. I have zero interest in helping somebody on a short time frame, make money. What I'm very interested in is I want to reward the builders, those people who are here to help us build. I hope that I change your life. That's my dream. If I can materially make an impact in your life, and because you came and helped make our product better, that's my sincerest desire for our community, and that's kind of like the centralized ethos, is that we all can have a part in this, and so I expect that you'll lift where you stand and pull your weight. Hi, Doug. Will you be able to produce a video or something as an idiot's guide to using your platform? Thanks in advance. You're doing a great job, Tommy. Hi, Tommy. So, yeah, totally. I think you saw this. We did an animated series just around our original white paper with Grace and Brad and Lucy, and I think we've already got it scheduled. And launching takes a lot of effort. Our description isn't even updated on Binance yet. That's still on my to-do list. There's a whole bunch of things that got to get done, and so in the next 2 weeks we'll be filming it, and then it usually takes about a week before we publish it. But we'll go through the lending, we'll go through the borrowing, and we'll go through adding liquidity. A question I just remembered was, what happened to the guarantor? When will we see the guarantor role? Well, the when questions are hard, but this is what I can say. You know that I align around the user, and we're going to try and build a product that will get us usage. We determined that this is something we could get away with not shipping, and so we're not shipping it. I do know that the guarantor pool does not show up in the next version of the protocol, and the reason why is because as we started work on it, it got real complex, real fast, and the economics of it, skyrocketed. If it already costs like $400 to borrow, you've really got to be entering that position with at scale capital, so that $400 is minuscule. You need to borrow on order of 50 to 100 grand. A lot of our community doesn't have that type of money and isn't going to play that game. The best position, if you're got less than 10 grand, is probably just to hold the token and help provide feedback with the target audience that maybe isn't yourself. That's a really good way to add value. But we have explored many different iterations of the guarantor pool. It's taken on totally new form, and it's a little bit experimental. We've got to do a lot of testing, and we think we could deliver something of value that gets usage sooner, and doesn't necessarily require that. So guarantor pool kind of on hold right now, and I think that's okay. I think we're gonna, obviously I think it's okay, because I wouldn't be making that decision. So stay tuned. Okay. Doug, marketing is important. Unlimited ABC. This is you. Let's see. Marketing may be important, but building something people want to use does whenever you market something that people don't want, they call you a scam, and it ends up being substanceless, baseless type of hype. And Mick, to his credit, is an excellent marketer. I'm an engineer. I'm a builder. And so what you're going to see is that the building and the engineering gets priority in my organization. I am okay being late in the marketing department. That just means those that discover us now are going to be able to have additional benefit before it gets discovered more mainstream. And you're just going to have to be okay with that, or you need to reallocate your exposure, because the marketing takes up a large part of specifically my bandwidth, and we've cut back on it. And you can expect, if you get, right now is an example, we should have like something every week for the next month or two. But my baseline is like, if you hear from me once a month, I feel good about that. And that just means that we're focusing on the engineering. We're not just sitting here twiddling our thumbs. Like, we're trying to do a lot behind the scenes. So I think marketing something that works and makes sense economically is important. We agree on that. But when you ship something that doesn't make economical sense to use, like our public beta, it's okay to acknowledge that, and it's okay to just say, hey, this is a step in the right direction. These guys prove that they can ship. They're demonstrating the code that they the type of quality of code that they can ship to large scale investors that benefit our whole ecosystem. And I'm satisfied with that. I don't need a higher standard than that. Okay, let's see. I have 67,000 MFT. Would like to add more. I mean, I guess I won't make any comments on people's positions. I'd say, like, if you're feeling a sense of urgency beyond reasonableness, you probably need to maybe divest a little bit. But if you're in it for the long haul, go for it. Like, stack whatever you want right now. Okay, Doug, you are right. Building what people want is the way to go, but can we get a rough timeline and what sort of product advancement we can expect? How regular will you be doing AMA sessions? Okay, the easiest question is how regular I do AMAs. AMAs come around any milestone or whenever the committee or the community demands it. So you can expect them when they matter. Can we get a rough timeline of what sort of product advancement we can expect? Honestly, I built a roadmap for the website and I pulled it out. And it's just not the way I'm going to operate. I am tired of promising things and disappointing on expectations. And I would rather just fight with you on what is a reasonable way to conduct ourselves. These types of conversations, for those who are going to walk, I think are going to walk away with a pretty good sense and a sense of confidence for what we're making attempts at. You know that we have a higher probability of success today than we've ever had here at Hi-Fi. And so it's like, my ability to pick arbitrary dates is extremely honed in. I can pick arbitrary dates like any manager, but my ability to predict if that arbitrary date actually aligns with us shipping, I'm just not playing the game. I'm not interested. I don't care. I've been an engineer for so long that I know when managers do this, they're just wasting their time. They're setting you up for failure, setting us up for failure. People have this anticipation, and if we don't hit it, everybody's mad. So I don't play. Go watch the GitHub. Know that every day our team is working on this, and our team has grown. We should be able to execute more in the next year than we did the last year. That's a reasonable way to measure us. How can we volunteer? Honestly, Discord is going to be the place to coordinate. Using the product, providing feedback in our public beta channel, the community marketing section. Some of you guys are just nuts. There are people who run ads. I don't spend money on YouTube ads, and there are, like, you guys are buying ads on YouTube. You're nuts. I like it. It makes me concerned, just like a little bit concerned. So good for you guys. I think the memes are awesome in our Discord. So just go be a part of the community, use it, try and help educate people. Especially Discord is so overwhelming. You got people who just show up and are low effort, just like, what did I miss? What's going on? When is the token swap? And the answer is nothing has been published, and it's intentional. And you will hear from us, and you will have plenty of time to swap your tokens. We are in no rush to cut anyone out who is building. If you're here to build, I intend to make sure that you are rewarded and have a place, because Hi-Fi is for the builders. Hi, when more people get access to the Genesis app? Well, that's a question for Mick, and I'm not Mick. And so, yeah. Doug, you're wasting your time here. You refuse to tell us what the plan for Hi-Fi is. I mean, that, I mean, Hi-Fi. The plan for Hi-Fi is to build a lending protocol unlike any other that uses, you know, that experiments and pushes the boundaries for lending and borrowing on what can be considered money and what can be considered collateral. That's what I'm going to do. And so I hope you're on board for that. How about quarterly projections goal? Yes, internally we do those. Externally we don't. And so I think we're dating. You're still getting to know me. I'm still getting to know you. And quite honestly, if you look at since the acquisition of Sabler and rebuilding our team, we've been okay at delivering. And we've been, we basically this whole thing was built with 2 engineers, and now we've got 6. And so I'm hoping that we'll be able to get a little bit more consistent, and I'm hoping that we can do a lot more on the experimentation front, so you guys have a way to engage. It's a little bit more exciting. Lots of Korean. I hope somebody translates that for you. Why do you seem so agitated and salty? WTF? Peter, this one's for you. Peter, at a certain point, you've answered questions so many times from Discord to Twitter to your live streams that subconsciously, I think if you just say it louder, people will hear you better. And it's just not true. And so I think it's just that I'm human and I get excited about my job. It's the best job I've ever had. And I want people to really understand clearly what I am and I'm not interested in doing. And so I try and take time to really be explicit and very clear on, both what we are going to do and what we aren't going to participate. That way people can really understand me, get a vibe check, and decide whether or not that's something they want to stick around for. I am sorry if that pushes you away. I think there's some good opportunity here. But that being said, I don't apologize for the passion, but yeah, sometimes it might come across as salty and agitated. But when you do this all day, every day, I'll pay you, Peter. I'll pay you to answer all the questions in Discord general chat for 1 week. DM me. We'll set it up. And if your patience is better than mine, then maybe it's time for you to quit whatever you're doing and come and do this. Because you people are relentless. I'll tell you that right now. You guys are relentless. Okay, so what's next? I think I should wrap up this AMA and let the team work. Okay. Okay. So we don't need the toxicity. Tell Peter to get out. I like people who are willing to challenge me. I like people who are willing to call me out. So I'm glad Peter's here. So thanks for contributing, Peter. BSC possible? Sure. I mean, it's just not interesting. Like we've got XDI, BSC, we've got whatever you want. Like let's just say this: wherever the users are, I want to be. Oh yeah, Cuban mentioned MFT. Yeah, that was a surprise to me. I don't know how he discovered us. I am from Texas. I am a Mavs fan. I have a signed ball of all the Mavs team back in, I think maybe it was 1996, and I went to the game. They were honoring small town heroes. I had saved my sister's life, and so I got to meet the team, go down center court. They did this big community program, and I got to meet Sean Bradley at the time. And so I think it's awesome. What's kind of interesting is Mark is getting into some areas in crypto that has just so much overlap with us. It's really not been publicly shared. And the overlap is, I'm almost like, okay, who's the insider? Who's the insider at Mainframe and Hi-Fi that is, leaking this stuff, and how he's able to really, yeah, there's just a lot of overlap with what he's doing. And I welcome him. He hasn't talked to me personally. I mean, I'm flattered that he sees potential here in a similar way that I do. When will Hummingbot rewards stop? We renew with them every 3 months, so it'll stop whenever it doesn't make sense to keep renewing. It's pretty simple. Just a business decision. We really want to support the liquidity there on Binance. It protects our position within the broader ecosystem. One of the big differentiators between us and the other fixed rate lending protocols is that we have a token. Our token economics are unique in the fact that like most, like we've almost fully vested all MFT tokens, and so anybody who's wanted to dump they've left, they're gone. And we're only left with people who either one forgot about us and then woken up in the last 3 months and said, "Whoa, hey, what happened here?" Or they actually believe in us and want to participate and contribute. So, can you make us promise that your DeFi project will be top 10 DeFi project at least? No, I don't play those games. Honestly, I promise that I'm going to continue to align myself with users and follow users. What will the next launch look like versus the public beta? Well, I want to wait for those providing liquidity to be able to exit their positions without waiting till maturity, so that you can provide value and then maybe go pursue an opportunity and come back. So that's a big improvement. And support for more collateral types. And hopefully some pooling of liquidity so that we can use liquidity across multiple different collateral types. So that's kind of off the top of my head, but I'm willing to mention. Are you aware that there's one wallet that owns 30% of the MFT supply? If you think I don't look at that, you're crazy. Yeah, I've tried to reason with myself as to who that wallet is, what that wallet's doing. Is it an exchange? Is it not? And quite honestly, whoever they are, they owe me lunch at the very least, because would you ever like purchase a large amount of an entire token economy? The nice thing is, the larger the position gets, the more aligned our incentives are, meaning that they totally get wrecked if they try and do any funny business. So it doesn't scare me, but I wish I knew who it was. I wish I could meet them or understand that it's a part of some exchange. I know Etherscan doesn't have it labeled, but yeah, I do know it. I think it's cool. They took a really early bet on us, and a big bet on us. And I think that they, if I am able to discover it, I'd like to be more strategic with them about how they can play a larger impact role in our community. So I think it's awesome, and it doesn't make me nervous in the least bit. Because the larger the position, the more aligned we end up being. What is the significance of the fox head behind you? I mean, that's the original mask we used for the MetaMask role in the Lemon Coin video. If you haven't seen it, it's a first video on our YouTube channel. I highly recommend it. Very entertaining. Can you share more detail about the bug bounty program and what's in the scope? No, just know that if you can steal all my money, I'll give you a pair of socks right now. We'll define more of the bug bounty program in the future. It's just a matter of bandwidth. Like, we've got other higher priorities right now. But yeah, I mean, anyone who is able to steal any money from the protocol, like, I'll take care of you. Like, that's for sure. Is there a chance that other products teams will try to produce a similar, better product that you know of that you're concerned about? Well, let's take a look. So there's three major players in this space. You've got Dan Robinson. This is his protocol, right? Like, we are an iteration on that, and kind of our unique innovation was around the guarantor pools, and the guarantor pools haven't shown up. So if you look at Yield and what they're doing, I mean, that team is a high caliber team. I don't like playing games that I can't win at. And so what I expect is that we're gonna end up, right now we might look very close. You've got Yield, Notional, and ourselves, and they all look very similar in nature. But quite honestly, I think HiFi is going to break out into some much more interesting stuff. And that's all I'll say about it. Is yeah, we look pretty similar. Does it worry me? No, they just don't have the creativity or the interest in the areas that I've got interest in, and so there's plenty of room. There's plenty of room. I think, if anything, I would worry that if Dan Robinson ever felt threatened by us, we kind of position ourselves as to not try to contradict with those guys. Like I'm not trying to compete. I am trying to stress test my protocol on mainnet, and you do end up with a little bit of overlap. I think the same day that we launched, they kind of formally announced that they'd be adding USDC support. It doesn't bother me. They're going to do some really great stuff. If anything, like, we are indebted to Dan Robinson and the Yield team. Love those guys. I wish there was less like awkwardness around open innovation. We kind of saw the forking wars between SushiSwap and Uniswap. Everyone ended up winning there. And if anything, I would want, like, those guys are so smart, and our team respects that team so much. Like, I would love for more collaboration, if anything. And because I feel indebted to them, that, like, I want to somehow give back. That's the way I feel. There's certainly this idea of like co-opetition where you're cooperating with competition. There's just going to be a lot more space in fixed rate lending for more than just even 3 players. I mean, the future of finance is this stuff we're building today. And I mean, it's just like, I think you're going to see AMMs that have lending on as a product. Like the next 5 years is just going to be super exciting, and not just Ethereum, but like all of DeFi. And as we get rid of the pitchforks and recognize that, like, if we're interested in building the future, we've got to follow Dan Robinson's example and put out the ideas for free. We got to follow Uniswap's example. We got to put the code out for free, and it gives people a chance to innovate. There hasn't been a successful fork that has done better than the original, and I think that's because people want to invest in where the innovation is happening. And so I'm keenly aware of how similar we are to some of the players in this space, but I think we're going to diverge from here. So it doesn't concern me, because ultimately we're in control of our destiny. I'm a super creative guy. You talk to anybody who's worked with me, like, we've got so many cool ideas. I mean, we bought $200,000 worth of socks. It's yeah, there's some cool stuff that's coming. How the development team partitions their work. Members have their specialties. For example, one person is focused on testing, then development. Actually, we do more feature sets. So right now, the way we kind of divide up the work is Paul's working on the next version of the core protocol. Then we've got Ahmed working on some stuff that I won't tell you about. Then we've got Clement, who is working on the token economics and token swap. We've got Sherby working on some other stuff. And so and then David working on transforming our front end from JavaScript to TypeScript so that we can have a more robust front end. And yeah, so that's where we're out there. Do you think fixed rate is going to attract the industry? I don't think fixed rate is the growth of DeFi. NFTs are what is going to attract new people to the industry. I think fixed rate lending is going to be something that everyone uses, likely on different layers throughout finance in their lives. And so, it's pretty intentional. It's almost boring in a sense. I mean, it'll be exciting when we do rewards and liquidity mining and that stuff. But yeah, so we'll probably be embedded in lots of different products in the future. If we become an LP, what happens when the swap does occur? Well, you'll need to exit your position. I mean, just like ETHLend and Aave, you'll need to exit your position, convert your tokens, and then if you want to continue being an LP, go add the LP. When swap tokens to HiFi? When it's ready, and we'll see. We'll see. If you haven't seen a new version of the protocol, likely, unless I've announced otherwise, you can temper your patience. Leave your tokens wherever they're at. It doesn't matter, and we'll announce it when it's time. And you'll if you're here, you'll likely see that message because we'll make a big deal about it. What do you see as the next big thing in, say, 5 years' time, after or on top of DeFi? I mean, the radical collateralization of assets. Socks represent something very, very novel. I think if you look at my tweets, I dream about the day that I can launch what I call the collateral collection, which would be a clothing line that you can borrow against, only for the novelty. The fact that you could we've got sneaker heads, we've got all this stuff, and we've got a freaking pair of socks that are worth, I don't know, the last I checked, $74,000. And my intention is to invest resources into the socks ecosystem such that we see a seven-figure sock one day. I like, frankly, like, socks is a meme, and I'm going to turn it into money. And I personally wish I had purchased more socks for myself, but the company has plenty, and but my plans for it are to invest resources and innovate on it, um, because it now represents a significant portion of our treasury, and so I'm interested in seeing it grow. And we've got the resources to do it. So we'll we'll work on innovating there in parallel to what we're building. But we won't let obviously the lending protocol is a much higher priority, but we do have some resources that we can allocate to it. So why not your coin is on DeFi's Pulse site so far? Well, I mean, I think I understand what you're asking there, and quite honestly, it's because I don't run DeFi Pulse. And some of these sites are more of a gatekeeper than others, but that's their business. If they if I mean, at a certain point, if you're not going to put DeFi projects on your site, then you just probably don't. It ruins their reputation. It doesn't ruin mine. So I'll welcome filling out any forms or whatever that they need when they are open to the idea. I think they were waiting for us to go last time I remember interacting. I mean, there's so many of them, but I just stopped putting effort into it because I'd rather build than try and like update these websites that clearly are difficult to get them to actually update. But once we're something, I think they'll make time for us. I want to earn APY. Let's see. Complete waste of time here. He don't answer anyone's questions in depth. Highly secretive. SNX and Aave put their plans out because they have real plans. Let me see if I can tackle this. This is from Think Supreme. I'm sorry you feel I'm so secretive. But maybe it's not that I'm secretive, but it's that there's nothing really to add. I'm going to take the building blocks provided by MakerDAO, Aave, and Synthetics. I'm going to combine them into what makes sense for ours. You might be able to predict it if you would take the time to go and read all the token economics there. And if I told you, I would ruin any sort of suspense or surprise that you might get, or validation from being able to guess it right. So yeah, I mean, I don't play the time game. I don't let people pressure me into how I release this stuff. I think be patient. I mean, if you don't if you can't stand the fact that I've narrowed the scope down enough, then I'm not even gonna apologize for being doing what I think is best for the company. So, yep, that's a reality. If you feel that way, I just want to let you know that yes, that is all the information you're going to be getting from me today, because the document is still in draft form, and we like to do things and publish them when they're a high production value, and that's something that I think sets us apart from other kind of weekend warrior DeFi protocols that are the result of a hackathon. We're not a hackathon. We're a fully funded DeFi protocol. So when you say a high, this thing keeps jumping. So what are some weaknesses of Aave and Synthetics at the moment? Quite honestly, I never jump to the weaknesses. I jump to the strengths. Like I love Aave. Aave just doesn't have true fixed rate lending. We need a differentiator from Aave, and fixed rate lending is that for now. And what are their weaknesses? I mean, uh, I I mean, yeah, there's like the fact that they have a value capture mechanism that they've turned on to zero. Their protocol would be marginally cheaper to use if they just left that piece out during their growth. They've been pretty explicit about not wanting to charge fees, and yet they have this fee mechanism, and gas costs so much to use. So weakness would be that Aave could be cheaper, but it's collecting a tiny fee on all of it. Would you consider positioning a portion of XRP in your treasury? This seems like the kind of thing that if I answer, I'm going to make some people really mad, and some others really excited based on the answer. But I really like hard questions, and no, I would never consider putting XRP as part of our treasury. Our treasury at times contains various DeFi blue chips. It has historically had Bitcoin and Ethereum, and then we'll, we've added some NFTs to it. We've added socks to it. Um, so no, I don't think I would. Hey, Doug, what do you see as the future of fiat? Do you think that it'll still be relevant? Absolutely. I think one of the biggest innovations we've actually seen in DeFi is stablecoin. Full stop. So outside of, I think number one innovation is the AMM, trading on a curve, the constant product formula. Number two innovation is stablecoin and finding mechanisms that are able to hold the peg relatively well. Have you tried contacting crypto YouTubers like BitBoy? Marketing is not the highest priority. I just did a thing with Blockchain Brad. He'll produce that. He'll publish that video shortly. I don't pay YouTubers. I'm not really interested in playing that game. At least I haven't paid them yet. So I guess I can be open minded, but it's not my intention to. I'm focused on building, so I think we'll keep that until I'm like the key. The moment I'm ready to like pay for advertising or promotion is whenever I'm willing to pay users to come and use the protocol. We're not doing that yet. What's the future vision to the product? Again, I've already said this again, but some people are joining late. It really is pushing the boundaries on what can be considered money and pushing the boundaries on what can be considered collateral. How do you manage such a high rate of fixed interest to compete on other top of already DeFi projects in the market? What are your sources of income? Well, primarily my source of income is MFT. My compensation is directly aligned with MFT. And how do I manage such high rate of interest to compete at other top? Like interest rate is actually a function of market. Like as soon as we put something out there, you could just go and borrow on Aave or lend on Aave, and you could do an interest rate arbitrage. So interest rate is a market function. It's not something we control. It's just what people are willing to borrow and lend at any given time. Now, there is a discovery in an inefficient market like right now. I don't know what it was at. Last time I checked, it was like 20% for lending on our protocol. And of course, it's like only good for $1 to $5 grand. But it's just a market that dictates what that is. What people are willing to buy or what people are willing to pay for it. So true fixed rate lending, a possibility that in the end, that's in the works. It works. You can use it in our beta right now. Because that would be the relative strength of HiFi over Aave, right? I'm not asking for a timeline. I think today, the differentiator between Aave and Mainframe, we actually have a video on our YouTube that covers this specific question very well. And it is that Aave has what their marketing team is calling stable rate lending. And it's, during times of volatility, your loan gets refinanced. So imagine buying a house or car and then, whenever the stock market is going crazy, that you have to refinance it. That's effectively what happens over there. It is sufficient for most use cases, but it's not fixed rate lending, and most large institutions and borrowers are going to demand a fixed rate instrument. Okay. What is SOX about? I'll leave that for you to go discover. As soon as I understood what the bonding curve mechanism around SOX and what that means, I became extremely bullish. I've only really taken two bets in terms of managing our treasury, and so I try to be quite calculated. And I only I only like playing games that I am reasonably sure that I can win at. And so um, we for some time had been looking at SOX, and then it fell kind of in the background as part of our go-to-market strategy. And so when the time came, we went hard. We went big into SOX, and go study the bonding. Go to unisox.exchange, check it out, and study what makes it unique. And I think you'll find some really interesting. It's novel, and I think it will continue to hold a particular place in DeFi history because of the success of Uniswap and because it was the first bonded token with Ethereum, and the fact that you can redeem them for SOX. That idea is quite appealing to many in our space. Is there a possibility Aave Aave, Compound, anybody could introduce fixed rate lending on their platform with a significantly impact HiFi? Likely. And likely I would be more nervous about that if I didn't have these other creative ideas and where we're going to try and really challenge what can be money, what can be collateral. But there's likely things. Yeah. Yeah. That's all I'm interested in saying. So, Doug, you look like Super Mario with a mustache. Thank you. Will Paul be long-term on the HiFi project? Well, my intentions with Paul are this. Paul's baby is Sablier, and Paul's experience is what we need today in HiFi. And my dream for Paul and for Sablier are that we can provide the necessary resources and funding such that Sablier, his baby, can reach its fullest potential. And I think that's something that I know I kind of project onto him, that if I can help enable him and his product to do something that maybe he couldn't have done just by himself, that's a gift I hope to offer him for the work he's doing for us right now. So I've got grand ambitions for Sablier, and specifically with Paul at the helm to continue running that. How do you offer fixed rate? What makes you different? I'm going to refer you to our other videos on that topic. Reach out to Max in Discord, and he'll link the YouTube videos that covers those two questions. Have you looked into Euler Beats? Nope. And the newest audio NFT that using the bonding curve. Very cool. Mark Cuban, Gary Vee have invested. Fun. Good names. Good guys. That seems exciting. You make ask to figure out everything. What's the point of an AMA? I can't find much info about SOC. Please share some. Sure, I'll do it right now. Unisoc. So here is the website. I'll paste it there for you. Go check out the website, and then there's a little at this website there is a little like learn more button. Click on the learn more button, and there you go. All right, can you talk about SOX and why we should own some? I don't try to give advice on what you should own. It was the right decision ultimately for Mainframe to acquire aggressively on SOX. What you should own is based on your own judgment, because ultimately you have to live with the consequence. Just like who you should marry, I don't have to live with who you should marry, so I don't tell you who you should marry. And so I won't tell you what you should own. Any idea about coin max supply on HiFi once will be launched? The short answer is no. I don't. We haven't finalized Why do you have zero marketing? Because I prioritize building above marketing. That is why. Did you read the story about the Australian man that refinanced his home loan using Notional's lending platform, and how much confidence did that give you, if it did? Honestly, I've kind of changed my perspective. I think right now, okay, so like you're talking to the guy who went and used a MakerDAO vault to borrow and go buy a minivan. I don't think that this is as practical today. And I'm not interested in trying to like help people refinance their homes, because the amount of Bitcoin or Ethereum that they have to own in order to do that is just tons. Uh, so I think, quite honestly, it's like right now these are speculators' tools for how you can leverage your existing bags and get liquidity against them while keeping exposure. And so I've kind of changed. So yeah, it's cool. It's cool that there was a real world use case. I honestly think that this is years away from having more practical real world use cases, and I'm okay because we've got the resources to get us through the several years, and we'll be ready for it when it starts happening. You can focus a little more on marketing, right? I'm actually no, I'm not interested in it. Like we'll focus on marketing when we have something worth marketing, and right now we are doing beta and we want to stress test it. So please come try and steal our money, and we will market when there's something to market. And not to downplay what we've actually shipped, but if you're wanting more marketing, I can assure you that I have no intentions of adding additional marketing resources today. Cool. So I think that if you got any last questions, I'll take them now. And I think that'll wrap up today's AMA. I'll get this published, and so thanks everyone for joining. Let's see if anything's come through. Doug, you sound more excited about stocks than MFT. Why not just start a collateral reflection idea sooner than later? Okay, so there might be some truth to this. I don't shill MFT because I'm the CEO of HiFi. That Socks is not my project, so I can be excited about it and feel comfortable about the legal implications of being excited about it. I think it's quite innovative. I plan on investing resources into it to make it even better. And so, yeah, I think Socks does feel safer for me to express how I feel, whereas MFT comes with a whole bunch of history and maybe a little bit more conservative approach. So you might be right, but I can tell you I hold an order of magnitude more MFT than I do Socks. So it is in terms of where incentives are aligned. MFT is where the value is going to be captured and driven back to at the end of the day. Okay, I think I'm going to call it there. Thanks everyone for joining, and have a great, have a great rest of your week, and I hope you'll join us for our next AMA around our next milestone. We'll see you.